The Top 5 Series. Volume 1, Short Stories. The Program, by Eljasz Perez. Read to you by Eljasz Perez.
Part 1. We ask you, Sean, to create a computer program that will not only change the way our school teaches students, but makes the students actually want to go to school, said Mr. Thorndyke, the principal of North High.
Thank you, Mr. Thorndyke. It will be my honor to create this program, Sean said. Then his eyes narrowed suspiciously. What's the catch?
You must finish the program within 1 week.
That's impossible.
Wait, no interruptions. Anywho, within 1 week, because we will not be able to implement the program after that.
But that's still impossible.
Well, you want the project or not? Oh, and did I mention that you'll be exempt from any schoolwork during that time?
Well, in that case, you have a deal, grinned Sean, thinking about the test next Wednesday.
Thank you. You may leave the office, said Mr. Thorndyke.
One more thing. What kind of program?
One that will baffle us.
That still doesn't answer my question.
What I mean is that you must come up with an idea. It's your project, smiled Mr. Thorndyke.
How would you like field trips without leaving the room, or never having to open a textbook again?
Sounds good,
said Mr. Thorndyke while looking at his computer screen.
Start the project on Sunday, or whenever you have time to do it, but you won't be exempt from assignments until Monday.
Okay, see you around.
Good luck.
As Sean left the office, he saw the secretary, Miss Thimbleton, his favorite teacher. He always had a soft spot for her, and vice versa. She helped evolve his love for computers. "How's my favorite student?" asked Miss Thimbleton as she hugged him. "Good, but I have a big project to do," replied Sean. "Ha! Has Mrs. Brooks given you another diorama?" "I wish. Guess again." "You have to write a story about yourself." "No, but getting there." "Oh, wait. I should have known. Principal Thorndyke asked you to create a program for the school. Again." "Yep. Just like last time. The grading program is pretty awesome, though." "Yeah, thanks," said Sean uncomfortably. "You can't just create another simple program like that. You've created enough of those for us." "I know. Mr. Thorndyke told me I had to make a useful program that will actually make students want to go to school." "How long do you have to finish it?" "That's just it. I have to finish it in 1 week." "Ouch. Well, if you need any help, come ask me." "Sure, thanks. See you later." "Bye, Sean. Now get to class." Sean ran to his next class, Java Beginnings. He loved this class not only because he loved computers, but because of the teacher, Miss Sierra Madison. Is young. Everyone calls her Miss Maddie, or even just Maddie. Pretty much every boy in school has a crush on her. She skipped 5 grades and is as old as a freshman in college. Rumor had it that she is dating one of her students. He entered the computer lab in class for the last period of the day and sat down. Class started in a couple minutes, so he thought of ways to start programming. If I start here, then I do this, and Sean was so into creating ideas that class started, and he was still in daydream land. "What does ellipse mean? Anyone? No one? Okay, Sean. What's an ellipse?" asked Maddie. "Huh? What? Sorry, what was the question?" "I know you know this all already, but you can't just daydream. Instead, you can help me teach the class," she tried to say with a straight face. This earned a few chuckles from the students. "Now, the question is, what is an ellipse?" "A circle. Ellipse is a fancy name for a circle. Of course, it's more complicated than that, but I don't want to bore you." Sean yawned. "Very good," giggled Maddie. Of course, the rumor was true. She was dating Sean. Class finished, and Sean headed for home after saying goodbye. Part 2. "Hey, Scene, I heard you have another program to make," jeered Guy, Sean's big brother. "Yeah, you're right," replied Sean. "Why, they can't get enough of you?" Ha, yeah, right. I have to get to work now. Can we talk later?
Yeah, sure,
Replied Guy icily. Sean shrugged, as he did every time his brother acted like this. Ever since Sean created his first program, Guy had become more and more hostile to him with every program. Sean wondered why. Sean entered his passcode and walked into his room. Upon entering his room, he entered a different world, almost literally. It was in stark contrast from the rest of the house, which was styled after the old Victorian days. His room consisted of a bed, a bookshelf full of computer literature and adventure books, a nightstand with a Bible, and the book he was currently reading. Underneath his bed was his super-powered gaming laptop that he brought to and from school. And finally, on one side of the room, he had a desktop computer with 4 monitors, each with its own operating system running through a program that he created that could run simultaneous operating systems on one computer. Oh, and one more thing. There was a closet with some clothes. The computer was a beauty. He saved money for years to get this computer, and then bought all the pieces and built it himself. The outer shell was silver, with his name carved into the side. It housed an Intel Xenon E5-2687W processor that has 8 cores and can process up to 16 threads. The graphics card was the Asus ROG Airs 2. It had many more awesome specs, but the most important was that it was super secure. No hacker could possibly break in from a remote connection. Sean sat down at his desk and turned it on. In a fraction of a second, the screen came to life and asked for his password. He typed it in. He then put on glasses that were laying on his desk, and the computer scanned his retina. The computer acknowledged that it was him, and showed him an operating system chooser. He chose Windows 8.1 Pro for his main monitor, and Mac OS X for his secondary monitor. He left the other 2 monitors blank. He took off his glasses and set them down for later use. Within Windows 8.1, he opened Google Chrome, his favorite web browser, and typed his network's secure IP address into the address bar. His special project appeared. He's been working on this project for months, and now just decided to use this project for the project at school. He put on the glasses and clicked Start Program. He walked into his closet, and instead of clothes, there was a machine that he strapped himself into. He fingered a button labeled Go, and pressed it. Everything around him disappeared. Part 3. Dang, there's a bug! Cursed Sean. No, not an insect, a computer bug. There was something wrong with his virtual world. But it wasn't anything to worry about. These things happen all the time. Once he actually finished creating the source code and made the program actually function, he decided that it would be easier and more fun to work out the dents and kinks within the program. This is what he was doing now. He was battling the Scorpio bugs with his admin powers. The Scorpio bugs resembled scorpions in the real world. Sean programmed the game to, whenever there was a bug in the system, make the bugs look like scorpions to Sean so that he can fight them off instead of going to the source code and editing it and all that time-consuming stuff. That's enough bug fighting for one day, thought Sean as he walked back to his virtual home. Then he went to the computer and clicked log off. Instantly, everything transformed back into his closet. He unstrapped himself and walked out of the closet, closing the door behind him with a metallic click. He opened the closet door, and the machine was gone. In its place was a closet full of clothes. He took off his school uniform and put on jeans and a t-shirt, and walked over to his computer and copied the source code from his computer to a folder named School Project. He left it copying. It was a fairly large file. After it finished, he signed out of his computer and locked his bedroom door. Only him and his parents knew the code, but they respected him and knocked when they needed to come in. He walked downstairs to his Victorian-style kitchen, of course equipped with the usual modern kitchen appliances, the fridge and stuff like that. He grabbed a bowl full of water and left the house to go on his daily routine run with Marty. He left his block and ran to the park a couple blocks away and started running laps around the mile-long track. Halfway around the track, Marty met up with him and fell into stride. "Hey, how's it going?" asked Marty. She was different than when she was at school. At school, she tried to keep her teacher cool and calmness, but here she was her normal self, a normal girl of 20 years old, just 2 years older than Sean. She was of medium height and build, with black hair and chestnut eyes, alike to Sean's own brown hair, black eyes. "Cool. Trying to think of ideas from a project," said Sean. "What project?" "Oh, I didn't tell you? I have to create another program." "Wow! Again?" she asked sarcastically. Yep. Maybe you should use that big project you've been working on as a basis to this project. Yeah, that's what I did. So far I copied the source code and left it at that. What are you going to do to make it less of a game and more of a classroom program? I don't really know. Wait, I have an idea. I'll have to sleep on it though. See you later. Bye. I have to go anyway. I have a parent-teacher conference, but if you need any help, come ask me. Sure. Bye. When Sean got to his house, he went straight up to his room. He wrote a note to himself on a sticky note and stuck it on one of his computer screens and went to sleep. Sean had a long week ahead of him.
Part 4. Do I have to go to school? I mean, I won't have to do any work, right? Asked Sean. You're right, you won't have work to do, but you must be at school, responded Mr. Thorndyke on the phone. Dang it. I'm sorry. Aw, man. That's what I thought. Well, I'll see you at school. Goodbye. Yeah, bye. Click. Sean grabbed his laptop and brought it over to his desktop computer. He copied the source code from the school project folder onto his laptop. When finished, he grabbed his laptop and headed out of his bedroom, down the stairs, and out the house. He grabbed his bike and rode to school. When he got to school, he went straight to the principal's office. When he saw Mr. Thorndyke, he asked, "Where can I get to work?" "Oh, nice to see you," said Mr. Thorndyke, surprised to see him. "You are supposed to go to homeroom, to take attendance, of course. Then after homeroom, you may go over to the computer lab and work on the computer project over there. Is that all?" "Yes, thank you." Sean walked over to his homeroom class and sat down. The teacher took attendance and he left quickly. He arrived at the computer lab. There were no kids there yet. "Hey, Maddie, what you doing?" "Hey, Sean. I'm in the middle of grading an assignment. If you want to start working on the project now, you can use the closet at the back of the room." "Thanks, Maddie." Sean opened the door and stepped into the closet. This is where Maddie kept her supplies, which in this case was not much. All that was there were a few books of how to code Java and a couple of replacement monitors. Sean sat down at the only desk in the closet. He whipped out his laptop and set it on the desk. He flicked it on. Instantly it asked for his password. He typed it in and it showed the desktop. He grabbed some gloves out of his laptop bag and put them on. He also took out the glasses that he wore earlier and put them on. He double-clicked the program and it started. The closet vanished. Sean opened up a hologram and projected it out of his hand. He looked at the floating apps in front of him and chose Chrome. He grabbed it out of the air and hurled it high above him. It burst open, with colors and everything, and his web browser appeared. He searched for some historic landmarks, places, events, and other things like that. He started computer animating within the program. He created adventure fantasy worlds, historic worlds, and main hubs. The day went by pretty fast. Before he knew it, school was over, and Maddie had to snap him out of his world. This is pretty much how the week went, up until Wednesday. Part 5. It was Wednesday after school. Sean was almost done creating his program, just a few more buildings and trees. "There, I'm done," said Sean. "Whew, that was tiring. I hope the kids at school and Mr. Thorndyke like it, and use it." He got up out of his chair and stretched. He walked out of his room, accidentally leaving the door open, and walked down the stairs to the bathroom. If he only looked to the right of his room, he would see Guy, his brother, hiding in the shadows. Guy walked into the open room and closed the door behind him. He walked up to Sean's computer, which Sean forgot to lock, and launched Sean's program. He stuck in his own flash drive and launched his scrambler program. He heard the toilet flush. He tapped the desk impatiently. Bling! It finally finished. He unplugged the flash drive and left the room. He was just in time, because if he left the room just 10 seconds later, Sean would have seen him leaving his room with a grin of satisfaction on his face. Sean left the bathroom and walked into his room and logged off his computer. He locked his bedroom door and went to sleep. He couldn't wait to test the program out at school tomorrow. Part 6. Sean walked to the computer lab, trying to stop himself from running. When he walked in, Maddie greeted him with a smile. "Maddie, I'm finally done," exclaimed Sean. "Really? Did you test it out on the school computers yet?" she asked enthusiastically. "No, not yet," responded Sean, "but that's just what I'm going to do now." "Okay, but just do it quickly. Class starts in 15 minutes. "Okay." Sean went over to one of the school computers and turned it on. In a few seconds he logged on. He then plugged in the flash drive that held the program. The computer screen flickered. He thought nothing of it. He launched his program and started the test stage, Egyptian Pyramid Escape. He put on his gloves and glasses and entered the world. The first thing he did when he entered the world was look around. The bad thing was everything was upside down and on fire. His avatar was continually dying and falling all over the place. Maybe it's just a stage. I'll just try another one, thought Sean. He quit the game and switched to School Hub. Same thing, but instead of fire, he was drowning in mud. What happened here? I tested this out at home. It worked flawlessly. He quit the program once more. This time, he decided to restart the computer, but never got that far. When he took one look at the computer screen, he knew he had been sabotaged. His face contorted in anger. "Ah!" shouted Sean, irritated. "What's wrong?" exclaimed Maddie, her head snapping up alarmed. "I've been sabotaged," said Sean matter-of-factly. "What do you mean?" "It's most likely my brother. He never really liked me, especially after I started dating you and creating more programs for school. He's smart, smarter than me, at least in programming. But it's true that I surpassed him in security and hardware engineering. He must have been jealous that my school asked me to make so many programs. This project must have pushed him overboard." "Wow, that's a story. So what are you going to do about it?" "I can't." "He's that good?" "Yep," Sean said sadly. "Well, since I have a degree in computer anything, I'll try to fix it." "Oh, thank you so much. Come over here and here's the source code. See what you can do." "Now let's see." Half an hour later. "This is hopeless," said Maddie exasperately. "I told you," responded Sean. "You know what's even worse? If you don't fix it soon, it'll spread to all the other computers and shut down the school system." Wow. This guy is good. How are you going to fix it? "I don't know." "Maybe you should talk to him." "Maybe I should." Part 7. After school, Sean went home and knocked on Guy's bedroom door. "Can I come in?" Sean asked. "Sure, bro," responded Guy from inside his room. Sean walked in. "Why did you do it?" asked Sean tenderly. "Do what?" responded Guy coolly. "You sabotaged me. Why? How?" "What makes you think I sabotaged you?" "Because my program smells of your handiwork." Guy grew quiet and then yelled, "Because you are so awesome at everything! Your principal asked you to create programs for the school! No one ever asked me to do that!" shouted Guy. "You're loving and actually care about kids not wanting to go to school. I can never be like you. That is why I did what I did." "If only you asked me if I needed help. I know that you're better at me than at programming." "I would have let you help me," responded Sean. "My only question is, how did you get into my ultra-secure computer and room, for that matter?" "I guess it won't hurt to tell you now. I was walking down the hall on Wednesday and passed your room. You walked out and I walked in and used my Scrambler application to mess up your application source code," responded Guy. "I'll tell you what, if you remove the Scrambler's coding, I'll let you help me with finishing the program. You can also think of a name for it." "Deal," said Guy happily. Part 8. "We call it the program. A simple name because we couldn't think of a better one," said Sean in school assembly. The students laughed in the auditorium. "I thank my brother for helping me create this program. All the details in the physics engine wouldn't have been complete without him." Guy waved shyly. "I also thank our very own teacher, Miss Maddie, my girlfriend." "Aww," the crowd cooed. Guy and Maddie walked off the stage, leaving Sean alone. Sean blushed and rubbed his chin nervously. "Yeah, anyway, it's time for one of you to try it out." Sean reached behind his back and pulled out 2 old-fashioned top hats. "I will pick a name out of each hat, 1 teacher and 1 student. Those who I pick will go in for a simple 10-minute tour of the program. When you go inside, your eyes will become ours. Of course, we can switch to a third-person view if you like, but you get the point." Sean reached into the first hat and picked out a slip of paper. He did the same to the second hat. "And the winners are..." The crowd leans forward in anticipation. Miss Thimbleton and Tony! Sean announced. Miss Thimbleton and Tony walked forward. Well, you really couldn't say that Tony walked, more like stomped his way over. He crushed a few kids as if they were flies, and he stormed his way to the stage. He was short, but very muscular. "Why did you pick me?" Tony shouted into Sean's face with spittle flying. What do you mean?" stuttered Sean. "Why did you pick me?" One thing Tony didn't have was brains. "But because it was at random." Tony picked Sean up by the neck. Sean didn't even try to resist. It was no use. "I don't want to try out a stupid school program. I don't want to do it." "You could have just have asked me." Tony dropped Sean. "Will you pick someone else?" asked Tony. "Sure," responded Sean, sitting on the floor trying to catch his breath. "Yay, thank you, buddy." Tony set Sean to his feet and stomped off the stage, crushing the rotten bottom stair. "Miss Thimbleton, you can come up now," said Sean breathlessly. "Care to do the honors of picking the next student out of the hat?" "I don't see why not," responded Miss Thimbleton. She reached into the hat and drew out a card. "Jack, you are the winner," she said. Jack, a boy about the same age as Sean, stood up at the back of the auditorium. His friends wished him good luck as he made his way to the front of the auditorium. He was one of those kids that played video games a lot. He was a know-it-all and boasted about beating every video game he had. Jack walked up to the stage and stood next to Sean. "This better be good. I don't like wasting time with boring school stuff," said Jack. "Believe me, you will like it," responded Sean. "Flick the lights," Sean said to Maddie at the back of the auditorium. 2 spotlights flickered on, revealing 2 pedestals, each with a pair of gloves and glasses. "Jack will go to Station 1, and Miss Thimbleton, you go to Station 2. Pick up the gloves that are on the platform and put them on. Do the same with the glasses. Brace yourselves for what you will see, as it will come as a shock to you." Sean looked at them sternly. "Are you ready?" "Yes," they replied. "Then get on with it!" They walked over to the platforms and put on their gear. The last thing they saw before they entered the virtual world were the descending numbers, 3, 2, and 1. The lights dimmed and 2 projectors hummed to life, illuminating the screens in front of them. "This isn't working!" shouted Jack. "I'm still in the auditorium." "Turn around. Can you see me?" asked Sean. "No," gasped Jack. "The only person I see is Miss Thimbleton." "You guys know the layout of the school. Head outside, but pay attention to your surroundings. Some things are different," instructed Sean. "What are you playing at?" asked Jack skeptically. "You'll see." They headed out of the auditorium, with Miss Thimbleton leading the way. They walked out into the hallway and headed for the exit door. "What's different here?" asked Miss Thimbleton. "I see a door at the end of the hall that's normally not here," said Jack. "What does it lead to?" asked Miss Thimbleton. "It says rec room. Do we have a rec room, Miss Thimbleton?" "No, we don't." Jack walked over to it and tried to open the door. An alarm blared. "Bleep, bleep, bleep. Rec room not available in demo. Head outside like you were supposed to." Jack jumped back, surprised, and ran out the front door. The audience looking at the screens laughed. He stopped running. "Is that laughing I hear?" he said angrily. "Come on, Miss Thimbleton, let's get this over with." They walked outside into the bright virtual sun. Immediately, Jack noticed something different. "Hey, the houses across the street are gone," mused Jack. "What are those glowing discs that replace the houses for?" asked Miss Thimbleton. "Those discs are called portals that lead to other worlds," said Sean through the headset. "I want you to go to the closest one to you and walk through it." They walked over to it and saw a sign above the portal that read, "Jousting Arena." Miss Thimbleton walked in first with Jack at her heels. "Where are we?" asked Jack. I presume we're at the jousting arena, said Miss Thimbleton excitedly. I found out recently that Miss Thimbleton used to take fencing lessons and was very good at it. I hope that Jack's unfathomable gaming ability will help him, said Sean. Jack, walk to one side of the arena, and Miss Thimbleton, you go to the other. Step on the footprint and bed it into the floor, and you will be briefed. Here is your sword. A metallic voice boomed. A trapdoor opened, and a hand reached out and gave each contestant a sword. Don't worry, you won't feel a thing if you get hurt. Challenge will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, begin. What do we do? Asked Miss Thimbleton. Attack each other, said Sean. Like the voice said, you won't feel anything if you get hurt. What does this have to do with school? Asked Jack. Ha! I thought you liked video games and didn't want to waste your time with boring school stuff, retorted Sean dryly. Okay, let's get on with it, Jack said, his lips peeling back into a snarl. He whipped out his long, glinting blade and drove it forward, aiming for her neck. She dodged it with surprising, amazing agility. As he swung the blade again, she blocked it with her own. Jack, stunned by her amazing reaction time, hesitated for a split second, but this was all she needed. She drove the blade across his stomach, spilling the contents all over the now bloody cobblestone floor. He disappeared in a poof of smoke, with a surprised look on his face. He hadn't expected to be beaten so easily. They found themselves back in the auditorium. There was clapping behind them. Jack turned around furiously, his face distorted with emotion. How did she win? Jack shouted. Simmer down. She won because she had formal training with a sword, responded Sean, laughing. You may go back to your seat. Thank you for being my test subjects. They walked off the stage with expressions of wonderment on their faces. Any questions? Sean asked his audience. At the back of the room, a teacher wearing a tuxedo raised his hand. What does this have to do with school? He asked. Well, the process of playing games teaches kids subliminally. Take the fencing, for example. You learn geometry by knowing what angles to hit your opponent, Sean explained. Also, during a class, instead of reading a book about ancient pyramids, you can actually go there. We don't actually go into space, but with this program, you can experience anti-gravity and see the planets up close. So, does that answer your question? Yes, replied the man, defeated. Okay, are there any more questions? The room was eerily silent. Okay, I take it as a no. You are dismissed. There will be a pair of gloves and glasses on your desk. Put them on and set up your account. Voices murmured in the audience, escalating to a low roar as they filed out of the auditorium, leaving Sean alone with Guy and Maddie. You did well, said Maddie from the back of the auditorium. Thanks, Sean replied. You think it'll catch on? Commented Guy. Yeah, responded Maddie. The audience was awestruck. I just hope it all works out fine, said Guy. I'm sorry for scrambling your code. Will you forgive me? I already have, said Sean. Let's go out to eat to celebrate this special occasion, suggested Maddie. Okay. See you guys later. I'm going, said Guy. You guys have fun. Come on, Guy. You're part of the team as much as we are. Come with us, replied Maddie. You sure I won't get in between you and Sean? This is no romantic outing. This is a celebration, and you're invited, said Maddie, as they walked out of the school and stepped inside her car. The end. We hope you enjoyed our presentation of the program for Mr. Cheever's class library of the top 5. If you'd like to listen to more of our stories, click the subscribe button below, and please donate for the making of more audiobooks.